Why'd I go in and run for Dean? Wait a minute. Listen, boss, I've been in the big leagues 14 years and I never appeared in a World Series. Please give me a chance so I can tell my grandchildren.
Oh, go ahead, boss. What do you got to lose? We're 7 runs ahead.
You heard what he said.
Dean is up, folks, and here comes the first pitch.
Strike 3. You're out.
To the Mr. Baseball Show. I am John Weeks, also known as Mr. Baseball, and with my permanent, every week
I'm skeptical.
What's that?
co-host,
Kind of baggy.
John Hopwood. We will be.
I
trying
am
to-
not your permanent co-host. You need to find you need to find revolving hosts. Except we have this terrible time slot to tape in. don't
Yeah,
we?
that's true too.
I could
But-
not find parking today. But then suddenly somebody pulls out on the other side of the street near the city hall. The hell with it. I didn't even look for cops. I just did a U-turn and went right in it. And somebody seemed to be waiting for it, but you know.
Yeah, I had trouble also. I got out early enough. I found one.
I'm hobbling
over.
on a cane, so I'll use the sympathy, right?
Right.
As I come around, I think, I think this is a, I call him me and the Honorable Joe Olber, who has a thing for disabled. It's a crippled space. But no, it was this way crippled, that way.
That way.
Semi-crippled.
Yeah, my wife has one of those.
Oh, do you
This
have a
is-
second one that I can borrow?
I have it in my car.
My knees go out. It can help.
Listen, Aaron Boone, manager of the
Boone,
Yankees.
the new manager. I knew they would never hire a black man, whether he's Latino, like Carlos Beltran, or
Well, the
or an African American. I knew the Yankees would never hire a black manager. They're such the epitome of corporate baseball, and they always have been. It's
I know.
amazing. They've never had a black manager.
Oh, I know. A lot of teams haven't.
Yeah, but it's the Yankees, you know. So if you take Billy Martin out of the mix, was he 5 times manager?
Right.
Which was ridiculous. George Steinbrenner, the boss, was like Charlie Finley. At one time, Charlie Finley had 11 managers in 11 years. Till he got
Till he had that little run.
Dick Williams, who quit.
Yeah, and Al Dark.
Who quit too.
Yeah.
They both won World Series from him quit.
Yeah.
My God, they couldn't stand him. But the boss, he never had an African American manager.
6 new managers. I can't name them all. Put them in their places. 5 of them without any managerial experience. Does that mean anything to you? Doesn't to me.
Yeah, it does.
Does. Tell me why.
We were talking about the Negro Leagues, and it's very difficult. And you were talking about Satchel Paige.
Oh, yeah.
Who people that saw him think if he had had a chance
I saw him on TV. I love the guy.
in the major league. Yeah, he was a 46 or 7-year-old
Oh,
rookie
yeah.
in the World Series in 1948. First African American pitcher to pitch in the major leagues.
Right.
Because Bill Veeck, you know, everybody, Jackie Robinson, but Larry
Doby.
Dolby, he came up 6 weeks after Jackie, or 2 months.
Something like that.
And was treated just as badly,
Yeah.
except
And he was in the World Series the next year, 48.
never won an MVP, but was very close to. He eventually made the Hall of Fame.
Right. He was a good ball.
He
Darn good
played
ball-
a very good ball player. He was essential to those teams in 48, 54.
I believe he won a home run title.
But he never became like what we'd say like Mickey Mantle or Willie Mays.
No.
But he was just under that class. He was an all-star.
Oh.
And well in Hall of Famer because he came up late.
Yes, he
in
did.
The Negro League.
A lot of them were deprived because of their color, and that is so wrong, but it
Satchel
happened.
Paige, people would say. It was the great... DiMaggio said he was the greatest pitcher he ever saw.
Right.
I don't know. He must have barnstormed with him.
He did.
When white players would play African-American players and make money
Right.
because they were so pitifully paid.
Right.
They made more barnstorming. Babe Ruth used to barnstorm all the time until Kennesaw Mountain Landis had to stop him.
Right.
Because
He
he made more money.
He actually set he and Musial down for 2 months at the beginning of one season because of their barnstorming after he told them not to.
Right, because they made more money that way.
They did.
Babe made $85,000 a year. Hey, can we get some more some two shots? Yeah, then we can see Mr. Baseball right in back of us.
Oh, good-looking guy.
Yeah, amazing that the guy that he's 77 years old. Now it's stretched out. I got to get that right.
Looks good.
That background's got to. Oh, it doesn't look too bad.
No.
Someday we'll figure it all out. But I was looking at the only stats that BaseballReference.com, which is the best place for stats, because I don't think Elias, the Sports Bureau's online. Sports Bureau that has all the stats. And they just don't have the stats for the Negro League players. But I was looking at Satchel Paige, but I was looking at strikeouts per 9 innings. He's born about 1901 or 2.
Uh-huh.
So he'd come maturity in the early 20s. And he did play from the 20s to the 1960s. He was 58 years old. He played with Kansas City. 64, 65.
Pitched 3 innings and only gave up 1 hit, and that was to Yaz.
Right. He was in AAA for years.
Yeah.
Before that, because he could still pitch.
He was a character, and it was a great, great pitcher.
But the only stat I could see, nothing was outstanding in the few stats there were. And I think it was from the 1933 Pittsburgh, what they called Crawfords or Grays.
Both.
And yeah, because it would change.
Yeah.
And he had about 9 strikeouts per 9 innings. So I looked at strikeouts per inning and how progressive how it came about. And I figured, just looking at the stat, how can you do it? He's either the equivalent, first off, of his era, Dazzy Vance was a great strikeout artist, Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Who was he, from Brooklyn?
Yes.
He never got in the World Series, though, with those Brooklyn teams, did he?
I don't believe so. I think Brooklyn's last World Series appearance was 1920 against the Cleveland Indians, which they
with
lost.
Uncle Robbie?
I don't know if Robbie was still there, because
Wilbert
Robbie was
Robertson.
definitely there in 16 when the Red Sox beat the Dodgers. But then there was a dry spell until 41, and that was, I think...
Oh, so Dazzy probably didn't make it. You didn't see the postseason in those days unless you went all the way. You had to go all the way.
DeRocha was a manager in 41.
That's right. And Larry McPhail was with Brooklyn, though.
Yeah.
Who'd always drink himself out of an ownership. And but then I looking a little bit more, you figure, trying to extrapolate, he's probably either Lefty Grove or Bob Feller, 2 of the greatest pitchers ever.
Oh, absolutely.
A potential 300-game winner.
Yeah. Grove had a great career with both Philadelphia and the Red Sox.
Did he win exactly 300? Or
I believe he did. I think it was right on the nose.
Yeah, he was a great pitcher. That Jack Dunn, who owned the Baltimore Orioles, which would be a AAA team, didn't want to give him up, but had to.
Right.
He could have come up earlier and
Connie
been a
Mack-
20-game winner. He
Connie-
won 350 games.
Connie Mack had to sell a lot of his great players for money.
Right,
to
because
keep
Connie
going.
Mack got him from Jack Dunn for some ungodly price. He was still young, about 24. Then Connie Mack had him, and he pitched in the 3 World Series, right?
Yes.
Of the Athletics.
Yeah.
With great Jimmy Fox. We were talking about him just before we came on.
Yeah.
And then Tom Yawkey bought him for another ungodly price.
Yeah.
and he went on to win 300 games.
Yeah.
And if you made an error during one of the games,
Oh, was he
Yeah.
one of those?
yeah, if you dropped the ball, he wouldn't talk to you. He'd insult you and never talk to you again for 10 years, you know?
Boy, they must have changed infielders a lot then.
But he, so you figure that Satchel Paige probably was that, the very best.
Yeah.
Because the Negro League players, Bob Feller always played with him, and he would insult them for some reason. He's the only white superstar that I ever found that insulted the Negro League players.
Yeah, he did.
The other people, they say Babe Ruth. Babe Ruth would have played with anybody. He could kick.
Jackie Robinson hated Feller. They disliked each other, I'll put it that way. Robinson felt that Feller shorted his players on, the pot, whatever they made. I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know
during
how
the
they
Rhinestone,
divvied
yeah.
it back then.
Yeah.
But speaking of 300-game winners, you know who ended up on 300 even was Early Wynn.
He was with Cleveland when he won.
Yeah, but here's the funny thing. He also played for the White Sox, had a great year in '59. Pitched
Oh, so he helped get them into the World
but he
Series.
he was basically retired, and it was either Cleveland or the White Sox. I think it was Cleveland.
Cleveland he came back.
And they got a big lead early around the fourth inning. They brought him in so he could pitch the fifth.
Oh, that's so you have to be in the fifth inning.
And then he was done. He got his 300th victory, which I think is nice.
Yeah, people weren't as stats mad then.
No.
Because, like, Frank Robinson, wouldn't he end with 594 home runs or something?
Yeah.
He didn't care about getting 600. And then it was one of the greatest players ever, Al Kaline, the great hitter.
399.
No, 399. He got his 3,000 hits. He says, I'm not coming back. And he was paid $100,000, but he was over.
Great ball player.
It's like DiMaggio. It's time to retire.
Some kid went up to Kaline and said, "You're not as good as Mickey Mantle." And the Kaline said, "Son, nobody is as good as Mickey Mantle."
Mickey had
But
all three.
Kaline was a great ball player.
Yeah, Mickey, if he didn't tear his knee up, could have been the greatest player ever.
Oh, absolutely.
Bill James, the great sabermatician, he said it was amazing. New York in the 50s had three great center fielders: Mays,
Mantle,
and Duke
Snyder.
All Hall of Famers.
Yeah,
I don't know if Duke was the first ballot. He probably was.
could be. Duke was really lucky because he was the only left-handed hitter on the team. So all he faced were right-handers for the most part because of the Brooklyn lineup.
And most of the pitchers are right-handed.
So he got a lot of home runs. He didn't have to face much left-handed pitching.
Why was Ebbets Field favored right-handed hitters?
No, they just happened to bring him up that way. It was a bandbox all the way around.
Oh,
I was
okay.
actually in it in the third game of the '55 series.
Because the Yankees always had all those left-handed hitters. Everybody be a left-handed hitter.
Yeah.
You know? I was looking at the dimensions, an outline of Yankee Stadium, the old Yankee. Gee, how Joe DiMaggio ever hit 381?
I know.
I mean, it's just
In the cavern.
boom! It goes over to the right field, 490, and then center field and everything.
Death
My
Valley.
God, because it was. But I remember it in the 70s, and it was Death Valley. Jesus, Jim Rice would hit a home run out there. Carlton Fisk. The Boomer, George Scott.
George Scott, yeah.
There'd be Mickey Rivers
Mickey Rivers.
coming. You'd hope he'd fall down.
Yeah.
But he never did.
Mickey Rivers. He was a character.
Jeez.
Miguel Rivera, he
funny.
called himself when he
Hated
played the
Reggie.
horses.
Oh, yeah, everybody played horses back in those days.
Yeah, a lot of people did. That's gambling, so why can't you bet? Why couldn't
Well,
I,
look
as
what happened
manager
to-
of the Yankees, bet that my Yankees will beat your Red Sox?
Come on.
Not
You know what? You know why.
well. No,
That's
I'm
the
not.
ultimate. Have you ever been in a club, a minor league club? That's the first thing on. You don't have anything to do with gambling.
Oh, I understand that. It's in every clubhouse in the majors, also.
Who do you think owns tracks?
I don't know. Whoever.
Hollywood Track. I remember the great poet of Los Angeles, Charles Bukowski. He writes about suddenly, the pari-mutuel machines, they're locked down a little too late.
A little too late, huh?
Yeah, I guess Santa Anita was clean, but even it was surprising to realize that Hollywood Park was corrupt.
I used to go to both for quite a bit.
Hey, as we said, Pete Rose was a friend of a mafia capo. That was his bookie. A capo, the captain, the head of a crew. That's pretty serious. And they're sitting at a track like in Cincinnati or something, and they win the trifecta or superfecta, something that's like almost impossible to win.
Right.
Isn't that a coincidence? And they have some flunky cash the ticket. Come on.
Yeah.
Like we said, Whitey Bulger won the Massachusetts lottery once. But
that's gambling on horses.
But I'm just saying, when you read the things about strikeouts and the progressive, it takes a long time to get somebody striking 9 guys out in an inning. I think
9 in an
Herb
inning.
Score.
9 in an inning.
No, 9 per inning. 9 per 9 innings.
Oh, okay.
9 per 9 innings, excuse me.
Okay.
I think Herb Score is the first person.
Could be.
And who didn't have a long career.
No, thanks to Gil McDougall.
He blew himself up quick. But then Sandy Koufax comes up. Talk about 9 strikeouts per 9 innings. He goes to 10. Then Nolan Ryan. Then Frank Tanana.
Yeah.
Who it used to be people thought that a power pitcher would burn themselves out. Because they did. Frank Tanana was burned out. Nolan Ryan was really the first. But
one of the only.
We forget about Tom Seaver. Tom Seaver
terrific. Yeah.
Oh, he had all sorts of records. What was it, 200 strikeouts a year for 10 years in a row?
Something like that. Yeah, he was very potent, and he was a power pitcher.
Right, he'd have a 2.14 ERA, strike out 300 guys, and only win 14 games with the Mets. God, that guy could have won 400 games with the Yankees. Or any team.
His 300th win was against the Yankees. I think he was with the White Sox.
Yeah. Could you imagine Tom Seaver on the Yankees?
Oh.
Or the Dodgers, or a really good team?
Any of those great pitchers.
He'd win 30. Probably be a 30
Don
game.
Drysdale, Koufax.
Bob Gibson, too. Bob Gibson and Koufax are around the same time. And they start striking out 9 guys per 9 innings. Consistently.
Yeah.
Consistently. Then Koufax, I think he gets up to 10. Then Nolan Ryan arrives.
Yeah.
It's consistent. 10 per innings. Jesus, I saw Nolan Ryan last two-thirds of an inning at Fenway in a start in 1979. The ball, only Roger Clemens, you hear it. You're all the way back in the bleachers. Boom, boom.
Yeah.
And I remember he had 5 runs. Because he's going for all those strikeouts. 5 runs in two-thirds of an inning. And somebody next to me, an older guy, said, nothing goes out of Fenway quicker than a Nolan Ryan fastball. Dwight Evans hit a home run.
Now
it was like Carmen Killebrew time. It went all the way up to the lights, Boom, it's going up.
Now the relief pitchers, they have the strikeout ratio. Look at Betances.
What's crazy, everything suddenly then Pedro Martinez arrives, and he's going hog wild, striking people. And then everything's 11, 12, 13, 14. Suddenly, everybody used to complain about strikeouts and power hitters. Reggie Jackson, Babe Ruth was harassed in his time for striking out 133 times a season. Then Mickey was harassed about it. Reggie got up to 200.
Yeah.
Everything now is about strikeouts.
Oh, it is.
Home run, strikeout, no balls, we've been talking about this, are put into play. It's historically, the fewest balls are put into play. It's all strikeouts. You got these power pitchers. The average pitcher can throw 95-mile-an-hour fastball, which is incredible compared to what it used to be.
I admire the starters more than I do the relievers, because the reliever comes in with his gas for 1 or 2 innings at the most. For the most relievers.
Right. They're going.
And someone like Pedro Martinez, he was, right through the game.
Oh, geez, used to, up until the 80s.
I remember he struck out 16 Yankees one time.
Oh, yeah. Well, look at Clemens.
Yeah. Oh.
Even before and after whatever he was on. Even before he was a Hall of Fame pitcher.
Yeah.
Geez, he struck out 20 twice. He
Yeah.
was the first one to go. But there's no strategy in baseball anymore. And with the interleague play, the NL is just AL slob ball too. You don't have nobody stole 70 bases in a decade.
Oh, no.
Nobody steals bases. It's all the Casey Stengel, get two guys on and hit a dinger.
Yeah. Or we,
And use relievers. Yeah. Earl Weaver was a disciple. Billy was a disciple. And I have to apologize to you. It was Bucky Harris that invented the modern reliever. And not with Joe Page in 1947. It was with Firpo Mayberry with the Senators. He took a real starter with talent and put him in the bullpen.
yeah. Furpo, I remember the name, Furpo Mayberry.
It was Bucky.
So that must have been around 1924, 25.
Right, the two. That's how that was his great innovation. But other managers wouldn't follow it.
Yeah.
And then he did it again with Joe Page, who was such a drunkard. He probably could only be a reliever.
There were a lot of boozers in those days.
Well, there's a famous story about they always had the curfew, and they brought Casey in. It was Joe. I don't think Joe Coleman, but he might have told the story about somebody. It's 4 a.m. and they're trying to sneak in the hotel, and there's Casey, and he's saying he's waiting up for him because it's like the first year. He says, "Are you drunk?" Casey says, "Yes." He says, "I am too. Go to bed." I am, because Casey was coming back from a bar. He wasn't waiting. But I just don't think that there's any strategy anymore in baseball. So you don't need a guy with any managerial experience. The Yankees are the epitome of a corporate team, and when you have all these corporations owning a baseball team, you don't want any chance. You don't want any. Everything has to be uniform. It's like a machine,
Right.
You know?
And
you don't want anybody. You don't want a Billy Martin taking chances.
No, and
early.
a guy like Boone coming in, he's got his pitching coach, he's got his bench coach, he's got his bullpen coach. He's going to get advice. Managing is make the right moves, like Hinch did in the World Series, bringing in those starters to pitch 4 or 5 innings in relief. That really paid off. Of course, it went 7 games, but he won the series.
It's just a manager's something else than what we know.
Yeah, they're not teachers except Martin. Martin was.
You're not
a
going to have
teacher.
Billy Martin to pull a lineup out of the hat with an American League, because it was 77 before they won that World Series. Was it 77? He just put
Yeah.
everybody in a hat because they weren't hitting.
You're right.
Those Yankee teams would never hit in the year. They would just loaf for like the first couple of months.
They had a good
When-
ball club in
when Reggie
77,
Jackson-
78. They won both World Series against
Yeah,
the
but
Dodgers.
It took them forever to get.
Yeah.
Remember '78? It took them forever to get going.
Oh, it did. They
Unfortunately.
were down 14 games.
At the it was the beginning of August, I think.
Yeah.
Well, they made that up. But then the Red Sox, after blowing it, they started winning like mad again.
Yeah.
Remember in '78, the early part of '78, like through July, it was, it's the coming of the 1927 Yankees. They're going to win 111 games. Well, they won 99.
Yeah.
But,
Oh,
but in game 163, the Yankees won 100. So what do you feel about the other managers?
well, Gabe Kapler, I think, he's taken over the Phillies. Incidentally, his brother is my son's very close friend.
No kidding. Can you get him on the show?
They're out in California. I don't know where.
Well, they can call in. There's a thing called the telephone.
Yeah, true. Harold doesn't know anything about baseball, so to speak. And
Well, talking about not Harold, we're talking about the baseball manager.
no, okay, his brother is my son's best friend, not Gabe.
You've got to work these things.
Oh, well,
Use sympathy. Tell them that you're on your deathbed and you need to talk to the man. You'll rise out of the grave.
yeah. They work together at Trader Joe's now. I think Gabe sent his brother to culinary school, even to France, actually. And he's a chef now somewhere.
Who's the Washington Nationals manager?
Well, Dusty Baker just got fired.
Did they pick Phillies named Gabe Kapler?
Yeah.
Did he have any baseball managerial experience?
Minor leagues. In
Well,
fact,
that's something.
In fact, he managed for a year and then realized that he wanted to play more than manage, so he missed a year but came back and played.
Who's Mickey Callaway? Never even
See,
heard of him.
yeah, I
the
don't-
Mets manager.
Yeah, I've never heard of him either. Probably a minor leaguer that he might have had some experience, but I don't know.
Alex Cora's never managed.
No.
The Red Sox. I feel that's going to be another disaster.
Well, the Red Sox, if they don't get pitching, they're going to be a disaster. And
They need a power hitter.
without question, and it doesn't look like Stanton's going that way.
No, why would you? You know, I read a thing where they projected Stanton. He would actually lose home runs at Fenway Park like Jim Rice did because they have that line drive power.
Yeah.
And he'd have more doubles from the wall.
Exactly.
But
Or singles.
they put him in all sorts of parks. It doesn't change him much at all.
Right.
Because the park that the Marlins play in is one of these parks that is similar to everybody's. Well, except
Yeah. Looks like
Fenway.
Stanton may go to the Giants or the Cardinals.
the
And,
Giants. That would be a good fit for him.
and it's
But he has
He has the
power
say.
for his contract over
yeah, he can say yay or nay.
Yeah, I guess he's very reasonable. His price is less than A-Rod's was. It's
Yeah, well, he's not-
29 or 30 million, and they haven't signed for a long time.
Yeah, but he's not going to get that kind of money anymore from Miami until they get their act going. and
No, he's got
draw-
a contract with them.
Oh, I know he does now. He's on a long term, but he has one more year. Then he's a free agent.
Are you sure?
Quite sure.
Oh, I thought we'll check it out.
Yeah.
So you don't know who any of the other managers are?
No, I can't think of them.
He's signed to 2028. Yeah, he'd signed a 10-year contract with them. But he can opt out after the 2020.
That's what
it's
is.
one of those contracts that they signed Sabathia to
Okay.
CC.
Okay.
Is CC coming back with the Yankees?
I hope. I don't know.
Not at that price, but he's a good third starter, a fourth starter.
He
The guy's
has-
a stud, but he can pitch.
He had a good year. I will say that. I guess going through alcohol rehabilitation helped him a lot because he was terrible before he went in. Before he committed himself.
New York's a hard place to play.
Oh, of
and
course.
Boston.
Same with Boston. You're right.
Geez, David Price, great pitcher. Maybe think about him on the Dodgers. Geez, so
He pitched well in the playoffs and everything, but
Hey, I was reading a 1972 baseball, year in baseball, which is about the 71 season, which I had. I have all this stuff like that. And it says about Don Sutton. He won 17 games. It says, since Don came up as a 1-year-old, won 13 games. People have been expecting him to be a 20-game winner, and maybe it's coming soon. He's the only 300-game winner who never won 20 games.
he averaged
never won.
he averaged over 15 a year.
It's funny, they say
Yeah.
in 72 he's going to win 20 eventually. And all those years he never did. He was a great third starter, which when you won 15 games,
Right. He never did pop 20.
he was never the star. No, he never did. He was never the star in a staff. Or even a number 2.
No.
He's always number 3.
Well, he came up with the Dodgers with Koufax and Drysdale on the team.
Yeah.
And they used to.
Maybe he was number 2 with Tommy John, but Tommy John
Oh,
had
yeah.
his
Oh, he was
troubles.
up there. He was a good pitcher. And Koufax, I remember Koufax and Drysdale used to counsel him on the bench.
You got to wrap up, Mr. Bisbal.
Is it that time already?
Yes, it is, and I got to go to the VA hospital.
Okay, well.
What they're going to replace now, I'd rather not say on TV. Maybe tonight.
Okay. Well, Cindy, pour me a beer. I'm heading to Billy's Sports Bar.
At 10 a.m.
Yeah, 8:30.
Make it a near beer.
Put us on at 8:30.